most comfortable just to get one on each side. That way you'll still be close together. But no, you'll stand together. Okay.
Oh, are there?
They're gonna.
How do you
Barb.
get certified to be a hot air balloon pilot?
We take flight instruction and then we take a written test and a flight test. That's it.
Written test, huh? Darcy's very That's right.
I took my test in 1984.
That's the year I was born. Oh my goodness.
That's the year I grew a mustache because everybody said, you're not old enough to do
Yeah, you don't look.
exceeding 4,000 pounds. We have 240,000 cubic feet of air to heat, so that's why it takes a lot of heat to get us up. We don't run them quite this much once we're in the air. Before we lift off, I want to take the opportunity to kind of introduce you to a few things. First off, this is my space over here where I got my fuel, and we use propane. And this is your space over here. You'll notice that on the inside of your heads, there's row panels all the way around. What I want you guys to do is just kind of do a practice landing for me. What I'm going to have you do for landing is have you hold on to those handles.
Alright guys, ready? Deb, cheeseburger. Imperative. We're going. Bye. Bye, thank you so much. Closer together. Cheeseburger. Very close together.
See you later.
Bye. Don't say bye. Oh, see you later.
No, we're not a
I
drip.
had a group of Germans one time, so I said, Auf Wiedersehen. And one woman said, I'm glad you said that. And I said, why? She goes, that means see you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean goodbye, it means see you later.
How about us to the vista, baby?
No, that's a little
No,
too strong.
yeah.
I do see this power line down here, but this is where I always like to tell you guys. Don't hesitate at any time throughout our flight to make sure I see the power line. I don't have a problem with you saying, Bob, do you see this power line? It's right over here.
We can talk about the So Much Fun meeting, which is coming up.
We did get everybody, right?
Somebody was here.
If you're not here, raise your hand.
Oh my god, I can't look at it. Look. See, there's your sun.
And now the sun's starting to come up there.
Look at the other one. That's what we look like.
No, that's. I don't like look at them. That looks a little scarier. Yeah.
That's right.
You don't want to sit back. Want to sit back? No, I'm fine. We'll switch off now. We'll look at it. Radio check.
Loud and clear, Mother Low. Thanks for that great job. See you in a bit. they're going to do is pack up and then follow us. We don't come back here. So we'll stay in radio communication with them, kind of give them an idea of where we're going. Sometimes it takes an hour to get there, sometimes it takes 2 hours, so we never know if we're going to make it either. Well, sometimes we have to land short, sometimes we don't get the direction. The way we get out of here is to fly in the lowest layer of air flowing through the valley. The air is funneling out a small amount. If you don't get the center like we are, the air bounces and you turn around and go back in. That's why our crew pushed us towards the entrance. We'll pick up speed here as the valley narrows, and you'll kind of get a sense of how that air is moving. It's kind of moving down through this valley just like the river would if it was flowing through here, or the creek below us. And it never fails. I always say this is where you hope there's not a semi-truck coming through, and look at this guy. It never fails. There's always one.
That Oreo truck.
If they're tall and we want to get low.
Oh my.
Yep. You'd have to be here right before sunrise. Because of this airflow. It's the only time we can get this airflow is right close to sunrise, and that's why we don't fly at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Here comes the $7.5 million house. Snowmass paid for it. Snowmass bought an easement in here so that nobody will ever build in here. That's the only house that's ever going to be built here.
Wow.
It's a fixer-upper.
Definitely.
Gophers and raccoons and skunks are the only thing that'll ever live in it too. So.
I'm surprised they didn't tear it down.
It's actually kind of neat.
Oh yeah.
It's Somebody always decorates it up for Christmas. You can see the
Oh
Christmas
yeah,
tree
there's a
there.
reef on it. They built it to last.
Beautiful with the runs. Oh, I love those. The ski runs.
I always keep you guys turned forward. I never understood it in airplanes. They put the pilots in the front. That way when it hits the ground, the pilots hit first. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You can feel a little bit of the wind bouncing back off this hill down real low with us. What's happening on a larger scale is what's causing us to fly right down the middle of the valley here.
But it gets the morning, the runs get the morning sun.
keep your eyes peeled on the hills for any deer or elk. Seen a couple of deer in here in the last couple of days. If you see something large in the top of a tree, it's probably a porcupine, believe it or not. They like to climb trees. Yeah, he's a little bit behind today. I'm not sure why.
What's the reason that
That's how I thought about it. Stops the airflow when you're sitting on the ground underneath the balloon and keeps the balloon inflated, whereas the air will suck the wind will suck the air out of the balloon, like it's called the Venturi effect. Here we never have wind on the surface, so we didn't outfit this balloon with it. That balloon also flies in Phoenix and Colorado Springs. John's a Phoenix pilot, and Unicorn, which is also called Adventures Out West, that's the Adventures Out West balloon, is based out of Colorado Springs. And so given that they will launch and land in winds, it becomes more necessary for them to have that. So he asked why that had a fabric portion that hung down on one side of the balloon and not the other. We refer to this as a skirt, and we refer to that as a scoop. It also acts somewhat of a carburetor because we burn up the air so fast that the throats have to be a certain size. That's why ours is kind of up higher and doesn't come all the way down to the basket, because it would restrict the airflow of the burner. His being only on half the balloon, then they can bring it all the way down to the burner frame, which allows, as that air's coming across, for it to capture all the air moving underneath the balloon and keep it from pulling the air out. Same reason the bubbles work in the spa.
So each person owns their own balloon?
Well, there's two companies that own the balloon. That's Adventures Out West, Unicorn Balloon, and ours is Above It All. Well, we all have our own balloons too. So I actually have 3 balloons of my own, different sizes.
That's my house.
it looks like they're irrigation pipes?
You know, it's taking my first balloon ride when I bought my first home in '82 was the turning point for me. I not only bought a house, but I got a career. And I quit my real job in '86 to come up here for the summer. Only for the summer. I was a supervisor, and I had a retirement plan and everything. And I quit my job to come up here for 2 months, not really knowing what I was going to do when I went home. And I went home and started my own balloon company, and I've been doing it full time ever since. It's taken me all over the world. I've flown in the Dominican Republic, I've flown in Puerto Rico, just about every state in the United States, most major cities. I traveled around with a balloon in the shape of a giant polar bear. A little balloon in the shape of a giant computer monitor from the Tower of London, right on the Thames. See how he's making a left turn? As the air hits the hill, it kind of turns left. Start to feel it right here. The only time you feel the wind is when there's a different wind between the envelope and the basket. We're always going to be inside the airflow moving with it.
Picked up some speed.
Yeah, so you get that kind of in here.
They irrigate this entire area.
They used to.
pipes.
You'll see these ditches, and they would flood irrigate. There's a ditch right there that brings the creek water from up above out to here, and they'll flood it. They're putting pipe in because they're going to start building houses up in there, like they've done over here, and that's why Snowmass paid the money, because they knew that was all going to be houses someday. looking over this house so we don't wake them up.
Oh, come on, we're awake.
Well, given that we come by here every day.
All right.
These are the people that own the valley and the hills into here. Used to be Pioneer Springs Ranch, and you could ride horses and up and through here, and then they started selling off the property. They are friendly, though. You'll notice it says hello on the roof, and that's a sign that they actually do like us, because we're the only ones who can read it. Barn down here, or this red house, used to be up here in this little circle with the 3 trees, with no running water and no electricity, and they just moved it down there 2 summers ago, added on to it. That family bought the property on the other side of this fence all the way down. One of the brothers who is with this family, this is his home he's building. Yeah.
Did they get off? Oh, they're waiting. Like a dragon.
Were they going to do it live? Is it the shows in the morning?
I believe so, yeah.
Hey Pam, it's Bob. Sorry to bother you. I was just going to let you know to turn on local channel 16 in Aspen. I guess Greg's doing something with him this morning. He's going to be live on TV.
He's going straight up.
Alrighty.
Oh my God.
Bye-bye.
See that?
Okay, this is where we go up. We catch that wind to go to Windstar.
Rocky Mountain High.
Call your kids and things.
You won't believe where we are. I'm calling
Yeah,
you from
it's
the top. That's
25 till.
7?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I'm up for the duration.
Look at the hummingbird.
Hopefully we can take the bathroom.
He's up above us. You'll see him over here in a minute as we climb.
Oh my word. What is that?
That's so we can go over this hill. Pretty soon we won't be that high anymore. There he is.
We still can't see him. The balloon.
Yep. It's going to get pretty.
This is why I say I'm lucky to have grown up here.
This is why I keep coming back.
You know, you ought to put in your advertising. You want to take a balloon ride to get air and heat.
Yep.
Cheeseburger. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I am too. Big Mac, please. Okay. Breakfast parking lot. Oh, let's just play tennis after dinner. Yeah, right. Walk around.
There's Aspen, back in there.
Video cameras.
Now they've got steel cams.
Uh-huh.
This is about 1,000 feet above where we were. If you wanted to know, if you didn't, sorry. You can see him doing the same flow down there that we were in.
6 months a year. No, 6 months a year. Oh, we'll have to buy a dance here.
It's easy to forget to do it, since every one of them now are all motorized.
His house. Rennie knows. This.
Yeah, there's no resistance in sound, so we can hear the dogs barking. This guy lives in that house with the trampoline to the left. The dog will hear him, he's always out there running around.
He's always barking like that?
Yeah, he's actually in the driveway. See him? You see his shadow. Anything in the morning,
Yeah.
back deck that you don't want people to know. Mother Low Chase, you guys can go on to watch them.
Where are they now?
Over there at the cutoff lot. Just on the other side. Well,
Where's the road?
there's the intermittent hill, and you see the big one in the back. It's kind of partially lit. That's Watson's Divide goes through the middle, and then you'll start to see Old Snowmass area.
First time I drove over that road.
The hill that's right below John,
Uh-huh.
and the one to the right, that's where Snowmass Creek comes up through.
Okay.
And
Oh.
work is just straight below his basket. You'll start to see familiar sights here in a moment. To get a little bit closer, we're going to go over Wildcat Ranch first, and then we get to Watson's Divide, then we make a left turn and go to Windstorm. Although we're making a right turn now, we don't want to do that, so I'm going to go a little higher here. Dipped down there for a second. We not only slowed up, we made a little bit of a right turn, and I should have known better because I watched him do the same thing. I thought that was dumb.
Is there some restriction on building above a certain height, or all this area that's uninhabited, is that
Well, they could build up there.
preserved?
This is actually where they draw property lines on the ridge lines. So we're now entering this man's front yard. That's his driveway out there in front of you. That's one driveway. He's got another driveway over here, and the house is sitting right over there on the edge of the cliff.
Oh, right there. Wow. Quiet, it's one right on there.
Oh yeah.
That land that he had lived on to begin with?
I'm sorry?
Is that land that he had lived on to begin with and just bought it and invested, you know?
No, actually, he has a house that's back around by Snowmass. The property is sort of a crescent moon shaped, and his property's back over there. There's a reservoir over there also, where they have their house. There's a house for his dad right next to it.
Who's this?
Michael Douglas.
That's amazing. Don't drop him. Yeah, really bad. I can't come get him. That's like everyone's got to be too hard.
Now we're starting to enter Wildcat Ranch here. We can fly through it, but we can't land in it. It's a gated community.
Is that the house way over there?
That's one of them.
He's selling them out.
Selling lots for. This is usually about when I take off my coat.
Yeah, it's starting to get
Yeah, warmer.
comfortable.
Whose house is that?
That's the guy who owns. Where the sprinklers are running, it kind of curves around this hill, and it's kind of hard to distinguish the valley over there. But he's off in the valley, on the other side of the ranch.
Private visitor? Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
It's good to know when they say that thing.
We got more.
People used to this kind of lifestyle. You're going to hate it when they have people close down. Yeah?
Yeah, we're climbing slightly too. You can see by our shadow on that hill over there. We got a little bit of a climb to us, but he is dropping, and that's what we do. We get about to the road, and we drop down to kind of correct our steerage to aim more towards where we want to go. And you'll see the valley out there now. That's Snowmass, all the ranch houses out there. We're going to try and head off in that direction. What happens naturally is the airflow comes around, strikes this hill, and cuts across to the left, but we can't always count on it, so we usually try and get it in here. We like to be a little bit left of this house down here. We're a little bit right of it right now. Plus, sometimes if we're moving too fast, it's a way for us to drop down and kind of fly in a slower wind for a while. Because really, once we get to wind star, that's where we want to land. See, right here, you'll feel a lot of turbulent air. That's all the air kind of mixing around in here. That's what causes the left turn, but we want to fly over it first. He's making a slow left turn up the road there now, see? And that's how we steer. Just places we can go up and down, place ourselves into different wind currents.
So when you go somewhere new, it's got to be somewhat of a challenge, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, when you
Learn all
go,
the new wind currents.
yeah, you want to kind of talk to the local people and see what the conditions are like. And this is a very challenging place to fly. Somebody asked me yesterday, how did we learn all this? Well, it was trial and error. There's been a lot of helicopter liftoffs up here, where you have to take the balloon out by helicopter. Mine was just down past the Conoco station. That's a place that they now refer to. They always name it after you too. That's Bob's Knob. It's just above the parking lot for the bus there. Oops. It's a nice 2.5-hour flight. Unfortunately, we just didn't have any more fuel. Missed wind star. To the right, flew along that hill, went down to the creek and out, then started going up the hill. Dropping down in here.
I saw you guys landing on the side of a hill once.
It happens.
On the side of our shell hill out there.
Yeah.
I was watching the whole thing.
I tried to land there that day too and missed it. Feel it on our back all of a sudden. You drop down in it. That's a welcome feeling. You're looking for it, and all of a sudden you feel it on the back of your neck. And once the whole balloon goes in it, we'll head off towards John.
So did you have to charge the people more for that adventure?
Nope. Well, basically, the revenue from the flight just barely paid for the helicopter to come from Denver. In my flying hours up here, I've had one helicopter retrieval and one walkout where we actually have to pick it up and carry it out. John's never had a helicopter out, but he's had several walkouts, so it kind of balances. It's real slow. Hardly picking it up there. We're starting to move a little more. There's actually somebody there this weekend. I always say. And we don't want to, so we're going to go back up and try and find that wind current. I think John stopped too.
So what happens if there's no wind?
Don't go anywhere. That's why you end up landing someplace where you have to be walked out or helicopter. You want to stay in the wind and keep going. You don't have an oar or a paddle like you would in the river. However, this is much like a river raft. We're floating downstream. If the river stream quits, we quit with it.
No, there was a little bit of mid-range, but maybe 150.
Moving that.
It happens.
I have a whole lot left.
There was we were watching
I'm gonna try to see if I can find one on this ridge.
Greg, I've got it right here. I'm starting to come at you right now.
You guys wasn't watching it.
Right or left, Bob?
Walking to the mountain.
Towards Wildcat?
Yeah, the left is right where I'm at. Matter of fact, I might be a little high.
I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that.
I'm gonna try.
So all the companies kind of work together?
I do. I came up here in '86 to work for the Unicorn Company. It's a different company now, altogether. But they're also in Scottsdale, which is where I live, near Phoenix. And so I fly for them in both. I fly for them down there, occasionally up here. That's why I have their frequency on my radio. This is the company radio, and they don't have the frequency on it. I like to talk to them because, you know, it's good to share information.
So this is the direction we wanted to be going, yes?
Right. Yeah, we actually want to head off that direction. So we're kind of looking for a left turn to get in that flow and then kind of go that way.
People need Mike's slideshow. Huh? Yeah.
Get a little movement there, so slide now.
I haven't reached there. Or looking at them. So he's like, what am I supposed to put in there? I'm like, yeah. Hitting me too. Captain, do you do this at night?
Nope.
Nope.
Only in the morning.
Here we can only fly in the morning. In Phoenix we can fly in the afternoon right before sunset. In the winter months. But never here. Always has to be at sunrise. Oh, was that you? You just dropped down too soon. There, that's a last resort. Because if you miss it, you sail across to the other side. And then you're forced to land possibly premature. I mean, it is a landing spot if we're in an hour and a half into our flight, but under normal circumstances, you really don't want to be on the other side of that road. And a lot of it is just availability of getting the vehicle to you. This thing weighs so much, you don't want to carry it.
Michael Douglas's house.
Still can't see it. You can start to see though the road. The road goes up by our shadow, then turns around through the hills, and it makes its way back into that another little valley over there.
What is that coloration on the roof? Is that to do with snow?
It's probably just rusted metal. They probably put a metal roof on it that they've allowed to rust. Which are you talking about, the green one or the red one?
Windstar has shell blocks. Okay. So I saw this guy try to land.
I think that's what it was.
It was a jackrabbit.
Yeah, I think it was a jackrabbit.
Oh, the tracks down there. Yeah, appreciate that. We're trying to get some left. We were going pretty right, and you'll see us shortly. Maybe you might be able to see the top of the balloon here in a minute.
Is it looking it up.
Oh, I do my best work when it is so That's
You
right.
would have been out there.
Live well and fresh.
By the time we find them, it would have been out there.
We have so many. What is pulling on it do?
This is what's rotating.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
Put the
steering.
gear on your side. No steering, just spinning it.
Spinning. Oh, look at him. We'll come up over here, and then we come up. Wait, what is that it?
It goes on down there.
This looks more. Oh, there's the hill that scares me. It's not even that big.
House,
You're
the
staying
valley
right
on the
there.
back side. Of course, then the Rocky Mountain Institute's down there, and
Yeah.
just a little bit of shade where the tall trees
Oh,
are.
yeah, yeah.
See the valley, and you start to see the green grass. Or if you could follow that back around underneath where the balloon is, back in that valley, that's where the lake is, and that's where Michael Douglas' house is. So we're still not quite far left enough to see it. Left meaning the left of our flight path. We were over on the other side of this hill, maybe closer to where you see that shadow line, you'd be able to look back up in there. Everybody else, if we tell you where they live, then we have to kill you. Except if you look just right even with the basket of his balloon, go left, you'll see a red barn. Big red barn, bunch of trees. Who lives there, do you know?
Goldie Hawn.
That's right. That's the Han Russell Ranch.
Goldie
A
Hawn
red barn.
and Kurt Russell.
HR Ranch. You can see the tent down at Windstar now.
Where? Oh my god, it's so tiny from up here. Oh my. You see us?
It's a
Dad?
speck.
Yeah,
It's a speck.
Oh, well, you can zoom on it.
pretty close.
Is anyone there? Is my office open?
Yeah, I see them walking around in there, and they're. And there's,
Can't imagine
it would be like a grizzly
What is Windstar? Windstar is a land.
He was really cute.
I could say this.
Now where's he got?
He's trying to get to the same place.
It's the backside of Sopris.
The
Oh, it's beautiful.
Snowmass Creek provides another airflow that if you're too far over there, you can drop down and fly down real low through it, then pop up,
You can
catch
see
the wind, and go on
Prince
into
Mountain
Windstar.
from my house, just a little bit. They charge like $10,000 extra.
His shadow is now in Windstar, and what's really neat about, well, there's a lot of neat things about Windstar, but if you could see the property boundaries, gotta have that. The way the whale works, if you see the white tents down here at the very far end of Windstar, and it follows all the way back up into this valley where it widens out, and the head of the whale is back up in there where you see those buildings, back up in that little valley.
I did not know that
Kind of like seeing the deer.
You can see that just by going into the little foyer at Windstar. You need to go
Whoops.
there more, lady.
I go there every day.
Yeah, look at the
I just
stuff on
don't
the
look
right.
at
you'll see it.
the John Denver.
But when you walk in there, you're not quite awake
No.
yet.
No, I go straight to my office and hide.
Hey, Johnny, Bob.
Yeah. It's 900 acres, is it?
957 acres, yeah.
From those white tents all
Uh-huh.
the way down to here. How many buildings are on there?
There's no buildings. It's a conservancy. They can't build on it.
So what are the white tents?
The white tents, it's an IKEA tent. It was built about 20 years ago. A martial arts teacher made the tent to do, was that Tom Crum? To do martial arts. And underneath this beautiful tent, well, now we have it on our property and we let people do weddings and birthday parties down there.
statue of John Denver down there.
Yep.
With his guitar on his back, holding on to a big E.
Yep.
There is?
There's maps and stuff too. There's a
$100,000
hike, a
statue.
nature hike that you can take down here. And people come down all year round just to visit the conservancy or to visit RMI, take the hike, walk on the
Conservancy.
Conservancy. And that way they couldn't build on it. 957 acres. It's an elk migrating corridor. So in the wintertime we'll be at work and the elk will just come walking by. Have some bears. We have a
So what building?
what?
What building are you in?
There's just one building out there that's a ranch house. It was owned by Pabst Blue Ribbon family years ago before John Denver bought it. And
We met one of our crew people who worked at Windstar.
did you?
She later became a pilot. Now she flies, when I say we, that was when I was with the Unicorn Company back in the early or mid 80s. The house that I'm staying in is owned by the balloon company. And they bought some furniture, so we've got a lot of John Denver's furniture.
Dude.
We always get here at the time that this woman down here is always walking her dogs, and you can see about 5 dogs running around out there in the dark green grass just this side of the, kind of between the 2 sets of sprinklers down there.
Everyone's had it.
Yeah.
Quicker than this. It's common for it to slow up now because all that cold air has been being replaced by the warm air from the sun that's being generated off the slopes of these hills. And sometimes we just can't get this far. There are a few landing spots below us that we can use. It's back in the valley behind us. And then sometimes we never make it as far as Wildcat. We land up on that plateau that we flew over very early. You'll see the valley back up in there, and I can see the dam of the reservoir, but there's kind of a grassy looking road thing that goes up the right side. Just on the other side of that hill is where they live.
We're almost out, huh?
No problems.
I'm not
No
getting
problem.
nervous.
No problems.
I see the blue of the lake. So where's the house at in relation
Well, the
to
house
the
is
lake?
on the right side of where you can see the lake, and you can start to see a little building. The yellow grass kind of meanders around it, skinnies out, and just on the left end of the lake, you can see a building, and then just to the right around the trees from that is where their house is.
Oh man. Oh man. Wildcat Ranch.
To make a rainbow.
Oh,
Arrest him,
anytime
all of
you
us.
go on somebody's property, you could be arrested for trespassing if they really don't want you there.
But do you really think they would?
Never have done it. Never had it happen. But for instance, Wildcat Ranch, if we land in there, they will not open the gate for us.
Wow.
So we have to get the sheriff to come and open the gate.
Wow.
They won't
To
let
get
us
you
in.
out?
Yeah, to let our crew in and to let us out.
Where is this?
Wildcat Ranch, where we dropped down low back a little while ago. Michael Douglas's property. Yeah.
You won't let them land.
There's $1 million.
Let them fly over, but they're not allowed to land.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should be advised that they're watering this field down with volleyball net. Pass it on it.
Okay. Two crew people out on the crown line. They're going to coax the balloon to pull over in that direction.
You walk up all those stairs right there.
Little meditation pad up there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm home. Honey, where's he building? Up on the hill over here by I'm not quite sure where. There's the biodome that he was talking about.
Yep, that's a little miniature.
Yeah. See, I took a four-wheeler.
Where's his house?
No, all this
This is all his
salvaging.
salvaging.
Oh, he's salvaging.
He built his house. See, I went all the way up to that ridge up there. Well, I got on a four-wheeler and went up and then dropped me and I walked back.
It's about 4 pounds.
We did 2 drop line landings that you missed. Yeah, one of them I was right over at the edge of my shadow, and yesterday Bruce was on the other side of the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody got a turn.
Oh, we're supposed to hold on now, huh?
Bend your
Fly
knees.
right into the opening.
Okay, I'm gonna wait here.
Incoming!
Whee! Watch out! They're not listening to us.
Bob flying down valley on his own, or is the crew walking him? At the moment,
No one's walking us.
he's doing it himself.
All right, this is a really good landing, Bob.
Yeah,
This is a good landing.
We're not even done yet.
Well, I know, but at least we're not in the shell. I watched you guys
My
land
tape
the
just
I'm like,
ended.
oh my god. They walked you out.
Perfect, we just taxied right in.
Hey, right at the end of my tape too.
Thank you. We want to change.
Of course, I only say that so they can hear me. No. You're kidding.
It's time to
You lost somebody.
Hey, I have a
This is a
whole
good
new
place
view
to
on
lose
my
it.
work now. I have a bird's eye view of it now.
Yeah, but a whole different.
Aim the car. You were right.
All right.
We didn't want any less. No less.
I only got nervous when we got stuck. When we just weren't moving. I'm like, no, we're not moving. We're not doing anything.
So do you recognize this property?
Yes, I might as well just stay here and go to work. I should have had 2 vehicles out here soon.
Well, there's a thought.
What a way to come to work, huh?
I know.
We can go and give them a hassle and then leave.
No one's there.
Oh, you be it.
You're gonna make fun of my head too?
Like, okay, I'm counting.
My heat shield.
I start at 5, let's see. I start at top right. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
You're sort of double dipping here, aren't you?
This is the World Series year.
He's double dipping.
No, I'm entertaining.
I see. That's it.
I'm entertaining. Come on, you would do the same thing if I came here.
Listen to you.
11 days out. And these highlights are so loud. I actually thought they were running. All of a sudden they kind of tipped it over. It's like, that's not running. This one wasn't either.
You didn't tell us that. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
He told us so.
Fortunately, you didn't hear it.
I hate losing the pilot.
Got right to where our crew wanted to pull us to anyway.
I don't know. We'd have to walk out because they might load us. When
I
we're
can see
pulling
them
out, I'll look in the parking
letting all the
lot
air
if
out the
Bob
top
or
of the
drivers
balloon.
would